Welcome back to the program. So, we're going to talk about a lot of different things tonight. Most of them really bad, lots of shootings, unfortunately. But we're going to start with Hollywood. Meathead is dead. That's right. Rob Reiner, who famously played Meathead on All in the Family, and his wife, Michelle Singer Reiner, were found dead in his Brentwood home. He was 78, and I believe she was 68. Now, all we really know at this point is that it was a violent episode. We don't know if this was a robbery where someone came into the house, but it was knife wounds and it was a stabbing. Now, we don't know if this was something, like I said, where he got into an argument with her and maybe this was a murder suicide. Maybe his TDS got out of control. We don't know. Or it could have been some type of robbery where they came in and were assaulted and killed. We don't know yet. We know that he probably didn't have guns in that home because he was obviously not pro Second Amendment. But we're finding out that he's no longer with us. So, All in the Family was one of my favorite shows growing up. I never liked his character. Obviously, I liked Archie Bunker's character. A show like that could never get made today, unfortunately. It was such an iconic program. But he also did a lot of other things too. I mean, he was a director, writer, producer. He wrote A Few Good Men, When Harry Met Sally, The Princess's Bride, This Is Spinal Tap, and many others as well. And he was a prolific director and writer and producer. And of course, he was the son of a very famous other Reiner, Carl Reiner, who died many years ago, was a comedic actor and things like that. So my thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family. Was never one of my favorite folks out there. He definitely did not like the President of the United States. But we don't know. We don't know what happened to him yet. All we do know and can confirm is he's no longer here. He's no longer with us. So anyway, that was the first story. The second story is, well, there's a lot of crazy stories, let's face it. But let's talk about this one in particular. The Australian shooting. This was at the famous Bondi Beach in Australia, a very famous location on the beach for tourists and things like that. And of course, it was the first night of Hanukkah. It was a Hanukkah celebration. And by the way, happy Hanukkah to all, of course. This is the first night. And it was done by a father and a son. One was 50, the other one I think was 24. And they both were eventually shot and killed. But if you see the video, it's like 10 minutes of them shooting, and these poor people are just fleeing for their lives. And by the way, I think the death toll is up to 15 or 16 right now. So my thoughts and prayers obviously go out to all the victims. It's horrifying. But there's one video, excuse me, and one individual that sneaks up behind the father, one of the shooters, and ambushes him, jumps him from behind, and actually gets the gun out of his hand. And he points it at him. But he doesn't shoot him. Don't know why. He doesn't shoot him. He doesn't neutralize him at that point. And so when that happens, he puts the gun down, and the son, who's still at the top of the bridge, ends up firing and shooting him, the guy, the hero. And, you know, when you have a situation with a hero like that, and they wrestle the gun, a long gun, away from this murdering terrorist, and you get the gun away from him, it's your duty, it's your job to shoot him and kill him. And they didn't do that. There was no killer instinct after he disarmed him. So he obviously went back up, got another gun, went to the top of the bridge, and continued shooting. And so, of course, more people died because of the inaction on this one hero. It's just sick. It's sad that there's so much anti-Jewish hate and resentment against the Jewish people. It's just horrifying, really. Because, you know, look, I've said this before and I'll say it again. There's not that many of us left. There's maybe 15, 16 million in the entire world. 6.5 million live in Israel. 6.5 million live in the United States. And the rest are scattered amongst about 180 countries. So there's really not many of us left. So Jews are, quote, not going to replace anybody. All right? But if we don't protect the Jews and they kill all the Jews, who do you think's next? It's going to be the Christians. That's why Jews and Christians have to stick together. That's why I'm a big supporter of the Christian right, because I understand that if the proverbial shit ever hit the fan, it would be the Christians, the evangelicals, that would protect Israel, that support Israel, and that would protect Jews. And I hope one day my people will wake up to that fact, but I'm not going to hold my breath for it. Anyway, that was one shooting. And the other shooting is this Benjamin Erickson. Now, from everything that I can gather on this kid, he seems to me like just a normal white kid, basically. Young, volunteered for all kinds of things as far as building homes for the homeless and Habitat for Humanity in Wisconsin. What else did he do? So many different things. He volunteered as a therapeutic horse trainer, equine therapy for soldiers that had PTSD. I mean, he did a lot of, interesting things that kind of don't really fit the whole thing. Gentle Giants horse rescue he worked for. He helped elderly people in nursing homes. He did a whole bunch of interesting things. So my question is, why then would this kid have traveled 17 hours from Wisconsin? And again, he went to a liberal school, obviously. He was definitely someone that was on the left. He talked about gender equity in his profiles, things that he supported, and human rights and all this other stuff. So he was, more than likely, he was on the left. There's no question about it. But people are saying that when he did this, and by the way, not only was he in the Army, but he was also in the Sniper Academy, so he was a good shot. So he had military experience. He went to University of Wisconsin-Madison. He went online after COVID, and then I guess he didn't finish, and then he went to the Army and basic training and all that, and he was an elite sniper. So he had a good shot, basically. But they are saying that he shouted something. And, of course, they're not saying what he shouted, but if you put 2 and 2 together, it usually equals 4. And I would assume that if you're going to go into a place, a school, a house of worship, a restaurant, wherever it might be, and you're going to shout something, you're not going to shout, "Hey, look at me." You're going to either shout, "Free Palestine," like we saw in Washington, D.C., or, well, I think we know. He probably shouted, "Allah Akbar." So that goes to tell me that it looks like, at least at this point, I can't verify this, I can't confirm this, I'm just spitballing, he might have been a convert to Islam that did the shooting at Brown University. There's more information coming out. We will have to follow up on it and see what happens. But it definitely seems that if he's yelling something out, then more than likely that's what he's yelling out. Now, the shooting that happened at the military base in Syria, this one's a little different. And the reason it's different is because if you look at President Trump's statement, he actually says in the statement that the president, meaning him, and al-Shabaab, or whatever his name is, are both, a little weird, both very sad and upset, and we, not I, we will retaliate. So that goes to show me that the American government and President Trump are somehow allied with a former jihadist who is now the president of Syria. And apparently they have arrested some folks that they believe were involved in this. And President Trump was asked, will there be retaliation? And he said, yes, there will be. Not sure. This doesn't make sense. Normally, when an American soldier or soldiers get killed, the American president doesn't say we. The American president says, I will retaliate. So what are we saying here? Are we saying that we're now allies with the Syrian president and the Syrian government? I'm not sure that's a smart idea, because I don't trust a former jihadist who's running the country. But it's going to be very, very strange. Very strange. The other thing I'll say just before we end on this segment is ice is lighting it up in freezing cold Minnesota. I think it was 12 below today. 12 below, 32 degrees with the wind chill factor. And they've arrested hundreds already in the first wave, in the first few days of this. So they're going after the grifters. They're going after that community. And they are clearing out the rat's nests. So that's something good. And on the flip side of that, today, December 14th, was the hottest December 14th in history in Arizona at 82 degrees. Shorts, t-shirt, out walking the dogs. Couldn't believe it. It was so warm today. 82 degrees. Broke the all-time record. So anyway, that's just a quick synopsis, recap, if you will, of what went on today. And I'll be back tomorrow with, of course, Jeff Carrere for the Monday Night Show. Okay? Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Put them down in the comments below. We'll see you in the next one.